How's it going, everyone? We are now live. Now, I'd like to welcome everyone who is watching to the Sci-Fi Society podcast, volume 13. And for the first time on this podcast, I will be interviewing a very humble, lovely, down to earth fellow animal lover and King Kong Escapes icon, Miss Linda Joe Miller. Thank
Hi
you.
there.
So, guys, before we get started, there's a bit of a delay on the connections on our internet, so just bear with us and everything. So, anyways, let's get started. Miss Linda Miller, I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to join me on this podcast. And yeah, I mean, I'm such a huge fan. I'm pretty sure you hear that all the time. That yeah, we love you as G fans, and you know
I,
how that
I
good
never
stuff
hear
goes.
it enough.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, thank you again. And honestly, it's just going to be pretty basic. I'm going to ask you just a few questions on,
Okay.
of course, as you were growing up and then heading into Japan, and then of course becoming, of course, one of the big faces of King Kong Escapes. And so far, I wanted to ask you just this to get us started real quick. And I'm gonna let me see and anybody who's in the comments also. Let me get that done. Okay, we got Jose Betran and we got Walter, of course. What is up? Let me show those comments. What is up,
I
Primo?
don't
Thank
have
you
my
for
glasses on.
yeah, thank you, Primo, for joining us, Jose Betran, and of course my brother Jedi Granville. Hello there. Hi, sci-fi, and yes, the legendary Miss Linda Miller. Yep, long time coming, man. I agree. I agree. I agree. Guys, thank you for joining on the podcast. And so, Miss Miller, first question
Yes.
as we get started, and I'm not gonna hound you with with a thousand questions, okay? This is gonna be very very basic. So
Okay.
I really wanted to know, you know, like as soon as when you let's say how was it? How was your childhood growing up and everything before Japan and everything like that
hmm
as you were as you moved to Japan? I'm pretty sure because
Yeah.
your father was in the military, I think.
hmm Yeah, I was an Air Force brat, but my dad was in World War II, and when he got out, and for a while he owned a tavern. And my mom thought he was drinking too much, so he enlisted back in the military. And so I'm an only child, and I grew up. I think the first place we went to was Georgia. We went to Illinois, uh, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, or Texas, Oklahoma, Japan, and California. So, oh, and France. I forgot France. So I grew up kind of all over the world. And I loved it because I'm kind of adventuresome,
Yeah.
mildly adventuresome. And so I grew up all over the world, and I had a great relationship with my parents. And when I was in high school in Oklahoma, my dad got orders to go overseas. And I had wanted to be an interpreter at the UN. I was studying Spanish at the time. And so I was excited because daddy put in for Madrid because there's a big university there. And of course, they sent him to Japan, which the military never does what you ask. You have to follow their rules. So,
Right.
so I was really, really upset, and I did not want to go. But I'm an only child, and I kind of my parents kept a pretty close watch on me. So it wasn't like you go to Japan, and I'm going to stay here in the States and go to college. That never even occurred to me to even ask. So Daddy went in February of '65, And then I stayed to graduate. I graduated a year early because I knew we were going to Japan. So I took summer courses so I could graduate a year early. And my graduation was on the day when I was supposed to be on a plane going to Japan. So I missed my graduation. So we get
Oh.
on the plane. I'm not happy about it at all. And we have a cat with us. So we took our cat to Japan. And we land in Japan, one of the Air Force bases. I don't know if it was Tachikawa or one of the Air Force bases. And I had this sense that I had come home. It was so weird because I never was into anything spiritual, or I didn't grow up going to church or anything like that. But I had this sense that I had come home. And from that moment, I just fell in love with Japan. And so, interestingly enough, I think the next day my dad said, "Do you remember," I can't remember her name, "the girl that we used to live next door to when you were in second grade in France?" I said, "Yes." He said, "They're stationed here now as well, and she's having a graduation party." So I went to her graduation party. And it's kind of funny how things come to full circle, you know what I mean? And so I went to her graduation party, and there was a girl there. I'm short, and there was a girl there that was shorter than I am. And she was
Wow.
bragging about all this money she was making modeling. She bought all of her clothes and, just all these things. And I didn't get jealous where I didn't like her, but it motivated me because I thought, damn, if she can do it, I can do it, because she's just, I was even taller than her. And that's something to say because I'm not taller than anybody. So, so then that's how my interest in modeling came about. I had no thoughts of acting at all. It was just, I wanted to make some extra money and be in front of the camera, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, ma'am. Oh wow. I mean, that's
Yeah.
no. I mean, I mean, just that whole story is like that's pay per view, guys. Like you don't get a lot of that stuff.
I'll write a
No,
book
but
one day.
no, but you said Madrid. So okay, I would understand why you would be a little upset not going to Madrid because it's Madrid. I mean, it's like wow. I mean, that's Madrid, but I no. I mean, I'm glad I'm glad that you actually embraced pretty much Japan. And where was it that you what exact what exact spot in Japan were you stationed?
We were in Tokyo. He was stationed at Tachikawa Air Force Base, that's in Tokyo, and then Fuchu Air Base is also. They're all like suburbs of Tokyo. So,
Okay.
and then we lived on a housing complex called Grant Heights. That was maybe. Have you ever been to Japan?
No, I'm planning on it next year, but I hopefully I do I'm able to.
Okay. Well, I was about a 20-minute train ride to downtown Tokyo. So I was
Oh,
in Tokyo. And so the girl had told me that she went to a modeling school. And so
okay.
I didn't call them, I went there, and it was right in the heart of Tokyo. And the woman that ran the place was a retired airline stewardess for one of the big airlines. And she would fly a lot to Japan, and then she just settled in Japan. So, it was really fun because they taught you how to put on makeup and how to wear your hair and all that girly stuff, And
Yes.
there was like a $400 course that you took. But before I
Mhm.
could finish the course, I got booked for assignments. So I never graduated from the course. I just started working. And I think the reason I worked as much as I did is because I'm short and I have brown eyes. And at that time, I had light brown hair. So I wasn't such a stark difference. The girls that are blonde and blue-eyed and 6 feet tall are kind of well, not now, but back then they were an anomaly. So I looked foreign, but I didn't look kind of freakish, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. No way, shape or form freakish at all. And it's understandable that they
Yeah.
would. I mean, it's understandable that they would take, I could say like I say a liking and interest in how you look and everything like that. It's just, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's how
Hmm.
you. Well, that's how you. That's how you were noticed. I mean, especially for modeling. I mean, pretty much, right?
Yeah. 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 Exactly. And what they would do is they would send an interpreter with me when I went on assignments. And I have an aptitude for languages, and I just somehow felt like Japanese was it wasn't easy, but it was doable. So I tried to speak as much as I could, and I got to the point where I didn't need an interpreter, because I could speak it like you and I are talking. I mean, I
Oh wow.
couldn't talk politics or religion or anything deep, but I could have a conversation, mostly it was like, tilt your head up, look this way, smile, so I was able to go on assignments. I did not need an interpreter. And I loved it. I had a ball. I really did. I worked almost every day. I used to keep a ledger because I was so excited. I was a working model, and I'd keep a ledger, and every day I would write down what assignment I had, where it was at, how much money I made, blah blah blah. And I wish I would have kept that ledger, to look at now. But I worked almost every single day. Oh, and
Wow.
then I got a radio show as a disc jockey. There was a fellow in Tokyo
Wow.
that had a big rock and roll. He was a rock and roll radio guy, and I was his like sidekick or something. And so he would have
Mhm.
me speak English. He would announce the songs in Japanese, and then he would have me say them in English. And we would banter back and forth a little bit. But I did that for about a year. And then the most exciting part, I'm jumping around here, but the most exciting part was when I got a call to do Mademoiselle magazine, which was a big fashion magazine then, to the Far East or the Asian or Far East version. So I was on the cover, and that was my very first cover. And I was like on the moon. I was so excited, I'm on a cover. And then shortly after all that happened, I got a gig for the cover of a young women's magazine. It was a weekly magazine. It was called Jose 7, and Jose means girl, and so girl 7 days a week. And myself and another model, we would take every other week, we would be on the cover because it was a weekly magazine. And then
Awesome.
sometimes she and I would do the cover together. And I did all of that that was probably 2 years of that. And then I got the call from Arthur Rankin.
Oh, okay. Oh wow. No, I mean that's a. I mean, I'm thinking like, wow, that's a lot. Like in such a short time when you got there, that was
Oh,
that
yeah.
was. I mean, yeah, I bet it was a lot too old. It's also, it's like you took it in, like you just absorbed all of it. You didn't even like you didn't feel like you were okay. You're being overwhelmed. You just took it all in, pretty much.
Hmm. Well, I was young, I was 17 when it started. And the only thing that I didn't like was I didn't have any friends because, well, I had like peripheral friends that maybe I would talk to once every couple of months, but
Yeah.
I had no real friends because I worked all the time. And I I didn't like it, but I would rather have worked all the time. That was where my focus was because I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed opening up a magazine and seeing what picture did they use on that day that we went to the beach or went to Mount Fuji or whatever. I just loved it actually. you know.
Yeah,
And
that's
when I look at
that's
the
awesome.
pictures now, I remember the stories behind the pictures.
Oh no, that's I would, man, like I can just imagine how how much fun you had, and then being busy, keeping, at least you were staying busy. And hold on, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting like a whole bunch. I'm getting a whole bunch of comments. So let me just add to the people who are
Okay.
watching. Okay, we also got of course Brendan, Autistic Lizard. He's watching. He says hi and he says
Hello.
thank you again. He says thank you again for being on his podcast also. And got Anthony Jordan,
Mm.
Movies and More, another member from the Sci-Fi Society. And we got Jake Hall, another friend of mine from the society. And then we got everybody's flooding in. Everybody's flooding in and actually giving the praise that's due to what everything, the accomplishments that you've done in Japan and everything. So, but that no, that's great though. But no, I mean, I could imagine, Miss Miller, that it was. I mean, you were on, like you said, you were on cloud nine pretty much in a way when you're like in a, especially in
Yeah.
Japan, because I mean, just Japan itself is beautiful, and I I'm making it my
Oh,
goal
yeah.
to go there. I'm making it my goal to go there next year. I already got my passport, so I got my passport out of the way, so that'll be good. But no, yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
um, go ahead.
Japan is an awesome, awesome place. I went back. I left in 68. I
Mhm.
went back several more times. Oh, phone's ringing. Anyway, I went back several more times. If I don't, I'm sorry. Let me answer this. Tell him to go away.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, no
What was
problem.
I saying? I don't remember.
Yeah, you were
I don't
saying
remember
that
what I was
you were.
saying.
Yeah, you were saying. Oh my God, now I forgot. You were saying that Japan, that you love Japan, that Japan was
Oh,
like
yes,
very.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So I left in 68. I went back several more times because I was in love. I went back several more times, and 72 was the last time I went back. And then I didn't go until 2016. And that was for conventions in Japan. And I was so thrilled, you know. But Japan has changed a lot. The people there are tall now. I was I was shocked, because I was used to everybody being my size, it was great shocking there because the shoes fit, the clothes fit, because everybody was my size. So anyway, Japan is an awesome country. I really, really love Japan, and the people too. The food, the scenery. You know, I just really, really like the whole thing.
Now, awesome. No, awesome, awesome, Miss Miller. And now, so let's move on to
You
the
can call
second
me
question.
Linda.
Okay, Linda. Linda.
Yeah.
Okay, so uh, okay, so second question. Now the second one would be, so we already talked about your work in Japan, and as far as your work, we already spoke about how much you worked, how busy you were modeling, and then carrying a ledger and everything like that. So
Mhm.
what led to you? I think you mentioned it. What led to you when you got the call, or when you were in talks for the role of Lieutenant Susan Watson?
Okay. This is just, it's like God just laid his hand on my head and blessed me, is I didn't do anything to make it happen or deserve it. But I got a call out of the blue from Arthur Rankin, and he introduced himself to me, and he told me he was making a movie and he wanted to talk to me about being in his movie. And I thought he was a little bit crazy. And I said, I don't know how to act. I've never been in a movie. Anyway, he convinced me to meet him to have dinner with him. And I was a little bit leery. I was on guard. I didn't know what he really wanted, so I was a little on guard. But as we were talking, he said, look, I've got this part, and you look like the part. And that's why I want you in my movie. And I said, well, how did you even find me? And he said, one of the young girls' magazines, the weekly magazine. He said, I've been
Oh,
seeing your picture. And I just said, that's Susan Watson. And then I found out through channels that you were living in Japan. which I'm sure thrilled him because it meant paying me less money, than an American actress. And, to be totally honest. And,
Makes sense.
and that's how he found me. And so we had several more meetings, and I tried to talk him out of it. I said, I'm going to ruin your movie. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to ruin your movie. And he said, oh, no, 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 you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So finally I said, well, if you're brave enough to give me the part, I guess I'll take it, So
All
that's what
right.
I did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, awesome. Hey, he saw something in you. Look at Walter says it right here. It says Walter says right here, but he saw something special in you, and I'm glad that it happened for you, which we all are happy and glad that it happened.
Me too.
The and
Mm.
no, that's amazing. I'm pretty sure I mean, it's a part in a movie. And then like Godzilla was already up there in popularity, especially in Japan, and pretty much is known. That's what he's known for in Japan. You talk about Godzilla or anything like that, and then it's Kong
Mm-hmm.
though. So it's more of a like you said, it's King Kong based instead of Godzilla, which was also something that
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Arthur Rankin, you said, it made sense because you have the look, and when you
Evidently,
said, oh
yeah.
yeah, he doesn't want to have to go back to the States and get somebody to pay more money. Like he said,
Yeah. Yeah.
but no, but no,
Yeah.
but
Let's,
go ahead.
I was going to say, let's be real. Part of it was money, I'm sure,
Yeah,
his budget.
yeah. No, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was, but it was, you were at the right place at the right time, and
Mm,
I believe that it was something that you're already well remembered for, and you're also, like I said, a very amazing person, and I'm glad you got the part. And I also, going staying with that question before we move on, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure you're pretty like, wow, you're like me, and then you're like thinking like, why would you want, like you said, why would you want me in your movie? I'm not an actress, but did he, in other words, he pretty much convinced you, right? He tried everything. He tried everything to get you to do it.
Well, I said to him, I don't want to look like a fool, because I don't
Okay.
know what I'm doing. I don't want to look like a fool, and everybody's going to point their finger at the screen and laugh at me because I didn't know what I was doing. And he said, I promise I will not make you look like a fool, And it's funny. Some a lot of things that have happened in my life that have been pretty awesome. I don't realize how awesome it is until after I've done it. So it's like, I wasn't like, ooh, I'm going to do a movie. I was just like, okay, this is another assignment, and I hope I don't fall on my face. And it wasn't until after, like 50 years after I made the movie, did I realize what happened to me,
Hmm.
It's just, anyway, it was amazing.
No, no, yeah, exactly. Right here, Anthony Jordan has a, I was the same way when I first saw it. He says couldn't tell you didn't have acting experience. So, it's like you couldn't tell, like, if you were,
Well,
a real actress, and then just beginning. Because to me, I kind of agree. When I first saw the movie, which when I was very young, I was like, wow,
yeah.
I could have noticed. And then when I got older and I saw it, especially when I had first met you on Facebook, I saw it again, and I was like, I thought you did great. I thought you did, for you not having any experience, you did, for a lot of us. I'm speaking for me and a lot of the guys. You did a very good job.
Well, thank you. But it's very hard for me to watch the movie. And Thursday night at G Fest, they're showing King Kong Escape tonight. I'm going to be
Yeah.
there. It's really hard for me. It's really hard, I think, for anybody to watch themselves. But there's one particular scene that every time it comes on, I just go, oh my God, it's like the worst acting job in the world. Um, but over the years, I had built it up in my mind how horrible I was in it. But then when I saw it again in 2016 at a friend's house in Austin, and we
Hmm.
had a King Kong party, and they had never seen it, so we put it on. And there's a couple scenes where it's kind of embarrassing, but I thought, it's not as bad as I thought it was. So
No, it was honestly, like I said, and I'm not just saying this because you're on my podcast, like this. I'm saying this as a genuine person who is a fan, that and actually knows you and actually does talk to you here and somewhat here and there, which you keep in
yeah,
contact. You did a great job for a first time. I mean, that's to
well,
me
thank you.
that's just being honest. But I'm pretty sure we're all our own worst critic. Like, we're all our own worst critic.
Uh-huh.
That's when I first, and I'll just mention this, when I first did, I think the second ever live stream on YouTube, Walter was with me and everything was going wrong. Everything was going wrong.
Oh yeah.
I was talking like I was talking in circles. I wasn't thinking what I was saying, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't even go back and watch it. Like, that's one of them. I'll be like, oh my god, I don't want to watch that. But yeah, but we
Yeah,
totally,
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
totally. But no, okay, awesome. No, but
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. But I mean, but yeah, you did great. You did great. And
Thank you.
so we'll move on to the third question. And these questions are kind of intermingling because I'm not the best
Mhm.
interviewer. So I'm not the best
You're
interviewer, but
you're
I'll
doing
say
fine.
so. Okay, so if you can recall any interaction with, I say, Ishiro Honda, the director, or with, of course, Akira Takarada-san, or even Nakajima-san, and of course you had the co-star, which was what's his name? His name was oh yeah, it was
Rose
Rhodes
reason.
Reason. Yeah, Rhodes Reason, and
Mm-hmm.
and also May Hama. Mai Hama. Did you
Hama
ever have? Oh, I'm
Hamamie.
sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Hamamie. Yeah.
Oh, Hama Mia. Yeah, I forgot. It's backwards. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's saying
Yeah.
backwards.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So yeah, did you just like, if you could recall or elaborate on any
Mhm.
of the interaction you had with any of them, like during the filming or
I
anything?
had with all of them. With all of them. I'll start with Honda-san. He was very quiet on the set. And he appeared to me a very gentle, soft-spoken, kind man. And yet you knew that he was in charge, that was his show, his movie, and he was running it.
Yeah.
He was very gentle with me because he knew I was a newbie, and he was
Hmm.
very gentle with me. And sometimes he would act the scene out for me. He'd say, "Linda-san, do it like this," in Japanese, he would say that. And
Yeah.
if you look in the scene, the first time I meet Kong and Gorosaurus, and I'm in the tree, and I'm supposed to be frightened, and he said, "Put your hand to your mouth like this," So that reaction, I just mimicked what he said to do. So he would sometimes act it out for me, and we did have an interpreter on the set because of Rose and because of me.
Yeah.
And the interpreter had been in Japan, had been in America, and spoke great English. So I would
Yeah.
understand what Honda-san was saying to me, but some of the nuances I needed the interpreter for. I mean, I understood, but there were things that I probably didn't understand without Henry Okawa being there. So anyway, Honda-san was very, very, very sweet to me, but I could tell when he didn't like my performance. He had a
Oh,
way. It was almost like he was a father. I knew when I pleased him, and I knew when he wasn't so happy. And I remember the one scene that I hate, that I just couldn't make it happen. And we did it several times, and then finally he just shook his head and said, "Okay, let's move on." And I felt really bad because I thought I'd let him down. But the great thing was at the very end of filming, when the whole thing had wrapped, and we took the picture of the cast and the crew together. Uh, he of course, in Japan they do this instead of this. They
Yeah.
say come here instead of come here. So he said that
Yeah.
he said, Linda-san, come here. And he had me sit right beside him to take the photo. And that was like the biggest act of love that he could ever have done. It really touched me. So I liked him as a human being. I liked him a lot. And then Takarada-san, he probably was in his early 30s, because I believe he's like a good 10 or 12 years older than I am. So he was probably
Yeah.
in his early 30s, and he was married to Miss Universe, and he was tall. I was shocked at how tall he was, because Rhodes Reason is tall, but the two of them
Yeah.
together, they didn't overpower one another, because it would stand to reason that a big, 6 foot whatever guy from the States would come to Japan and he would
Yeah.
overpower, the small Japanese men, but that wasn't the case. So anyway, he and I, Takarada-san and I got along really well, and we would talk in between takes. I specifically remember when we were inside the submarine, and then we went up the hatch, I forget what it's called, and the two of us are up there talking. We actually were talking in between takes, and he told me about his family and asked about my family, and we just talked like two friends. And I
Yeah.
really really liked him. And then I hadn't seen him since 1967 when we wrapped on the set, and then I saw him the next time in 2016 when we did that, and then I saw him at G Fest for the last time at 2016. And everybody liked him on the set, you know. And he and Rose were very funny together, because they were always trying to one up one another, and they would tell these dirty little stories, and they did lots of guy things, and they got along really really well. And I think that translated into the film, that we all got along really well.
Yeah.
And Rose became a family friend at one point. And when I came back from Japan, my family and I went and had dinner at his house. And he's the one who turned me on to my agent and turned me on to what acting school I should go to and all those kinds of things. So we stayed in touch until probably he did Annie on Broadway in the 80s. He played Daddy Warbucks, and that was like the last time I saw him. And then Mama Mie, we had no communications at all. I was in awe of her because she had just made a James Bond film. She was the Bond girl.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
she wasn't haughty or anything, but she really didn't interact with me. And I felt it wasn't she was the star in my eyes, and I felt it wasn't my place to intrude to try and be friends with her. But she was,
Yeah.
wasn't mean or anything. So I didn't really have that much interaction with her at all, even though there were just a couple scenes that were together. But now when I see the film, I think, man, she was really good in that. She was really, really
Yeah.
good. And then Amamoto, Doctor Who, he was my favorite. He was
Yeah.
nutty as a fruitcake. He in the film, he has a cape, and he would walk around in character with his cape on the set, and he'd come up to talk to you, and then when he go to leave, he'd turn around and he'd twirl his cape as he left. It was very theatrical, and he was very funny and very nice. And after filming, he did a Fantasia on their Broadway, on Tokyo stage. And so he invited my mom and I to come, and we went backstage, and so I had good relationships with everybody except Nakajima-san, because I never met him on the set. I met him one time, and that was in fact, I have a picture of it. Rhodes and Arthur and I were somewhere we're coming out of makeup, or coming out of wardrobe. We were coming out of one of the buildings, the single-story buildings, and he happened to be there. And that's when they introduced me to King Kong. You know, so I had no interaction with him at all either until 2016, when he and I and Takarada-san got together in Japan for a convention. And that was the first time I ever really met him or talked to him. And he just was he was a nice guy, you know. They all were really super.
Yeah.
So my experience with everybody on the set and all the filming, even the hair. In fact, Natsuki Yosuke was an actor at Toho, and he did a lot of work, and he did some Godzilla stuff. Anyway, he had said to my makeup guy, he wanted to know if he would introduce him to me. And my hairdresser was having a fit. No, you don't want to talk to him. He's a playboy, you know. And so they were, you know, my makeup lady was being, like my grandmother, and my hairdresser was being like my grandmother, and my makeup guy was being like a matchmaker. And then that's how I actually met Natsuki Yosuke. That was my first love. You know, so I met him at Toho Studios.
Oh wow. No, I mean that's see, this is all stuff that, man, I'm trying to soak it all in, but then I'm also trying not to, you know, go crazy at the same time, because it's so much like, you know, like all these legends, and you of course also being an icon, being a legend, and you know, Takarada-san, Nakajima-san, Rhodes, and even, you know, I forgot the one that played Doctor Who, you know, I forgot him. And it's just, I mean, I like, as you talk about it, I'm soaking it in. I'm like, man, this is the first time anybody I've talked to or interviewed who's had this, who was actually there, who actually talked with these people, interacted with these people, and got along with these people. And to me, I'm like really like, I'm trying to keep this, that how do you say that? Trying to keep the little kid inside, not coming out and saying and going crazy. But but no, that's, I mean, that's experience that you can barely even, you know, anybody could ever actually even, you know, want, like wish for, you know, and you had the opportunity, which is just, it's just amazing. Like, it's just totally amazing. And I was gonna ask, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, before I get to you again. So the fact that you had the interactions with Nakajima-san, did you have any? I don't know if I've seen pictures, but did you have interactions with the actors also that were in Gorosaurus and Kong at the same time? Did you like take pictures with them?
No.
Like for like, say, for like for promotional? Uh-oh. We'll get her back right now. We'll get her back, guys. What's up, Anubis? What's up, bro? I'm trying to contain my excitement, man. I'm going crazy with all this information. Here we go. Let's bring her back. There we go.
Yay.
You're back. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say. Okay, so so you didn't have
bugs.
Oh, it's okay. No, I was just gonna ask. So you didn't have any, like, for any promotional work, you didn't take any pictures with either the Gorosaurus suit or with the Kong suit or anything like that outside of the movie or anything like that?
Yes, I did. In fact, I had forgotten that I did. Hamamiya and I both did some kind of promotion, because I have in one of the magazines, I have pictures of us, and I have it somewhere on my wall here. But we actually did some promotion, and they had, I think it was Gorosaurus. I have a hard time saying that. I think it was Gorosaurus that was there. And I remember it was like their morning show, and they interviewed us on their morning show. And I was so thrilled. I did it all in Japanese. I was very proud of myself, you know. So, but we did that. And that was about the only promotion that I remember doing.
Oh, okay. No, no, yeah, because I mean, because I'm just asking because not only because of Nakajima-san, but this King Kong King Kong Escapes film was one that I
Uh-huh.
saw later in life. I saw it later in life, and I didn't see it when I saw it when I was younger, but on TV, like back when when I was like, I think I was probably like four
Yeah.
years old, which was four. But
Mhm.
when I bought the DVD and I saw the whole movie, I was like blown away. And I've always been kind of a big fan of even even the Mechanic Kong. Mechanic Kong is very unique, but I was always a big fan of
Yeah.
Kong and Gorosaurus because Gorosaurus actually does have a pretty large fan base of his own, which is crazy. And
Oh,
I
oh,
I really do enjoy Gorosaurus and Kong and this Kong and the Mechanic Kong, as there were characters in the film, which it's just so like mind blowing, man. I'm trying to keep like I said, I'm trying to keep my wits about me instead of asking anything crazy like the little kid wanted to come out. But no, but yeah, so
hey,
no, that's awesome. That was awesome. And then you were gonna say something? I'm sorry before you got before you had jumped off accidentally.
uh, I don't remember. I don't remember. I can't.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll keep with one more question to just to see if I can refresh remember what you were gonna say. So it was okay being in Japan after for promotional say after doing a promotion and then you picked up the Japanese language pretty quick. So in other words you probably got the slang over there. I guess you could call it term slang. You picked it up real quick over there and in
Yes.
over there in
Some of
Japan.
the slang. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, yeah, 'cause
Some of the slang I did. Yeah. Well, see,
okay,
in
yeah, because
Japanese, there's yeah,
go
in
ahead.
Japanese, there's like three levels of talking. There's the level you and I are talking. There's a level that you would speak to like your parents or people in authority, and then there's like the high level. Well, I spoke the common level. The others, I suppose, if I had studied and stayed there, I might have mastered those, but there was no need to. But they cut me a lot of slack because I was a gaijin, I was a foreigner. And so they cut me a lot of
Right.
slack. And I remember one time Natsuki and I were together and I was trying to ask him, where's the dishcloth? Because I wanted to do dishes. I was at his house and I didn't know the word for it. I said, "Where's that thing where you clean and it's a piece of material?" And that's how I described it. He goes, "Oh, you mean da 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 da," So
Uh,
they cut me a lot of slack. But I have to tell you, after Kong was over, I got a call from my agent, and I got a guest spot on. It's called Seven Faces of Man, and I got a
yeah.
guest spot on that. It was an hour-long show, and I was the guest star. Woo-hoo. And the thing I was thrilled about is I spoke Japanese throughout the whole thing, And
Wow.
if you see my script, it's all written, so I can read it, and because it's written in, kanji and hiragana and katakana, but I wrote it in so I could understand the words and what I was supposed to say, and that was such a thrill and an accomplishment for me, you know. So, and then
Hmm.
after I did that, and that was like in September, it was on TV. And then my agent said, and then we knew Daddy was being stationed back to the States. Um, so my agent called and said, "Would you be interested in doing a series?" I'm talking to a producer, somebody big shot. I'm talking to so and so, and they're running, with the idea of maybe you doing a series and staying in Japan. And I thought I would love to do the series, but I was 19 years old. I was a very young 19 and never lived on my own before. And I said, I got to go home with my folks, So I passed up on it. And I think now, wonder what difference my life would be if I had stayed. You always wonder if you go left instead of right or straight instead of yeah. So, but I was thrilled with being able to do the show and speak Japanese.
Yeah, no, no, no. That's amazing. And honestly, I think if you went with your heart and you had to go back with your family, I think even with all the opportunities that could have came, you think you thought with your heart, and you did in your own words, you did in your own way, you did the right thing. And yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
anybody, if go ahead, was that? Sorry.
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, I mean it's. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure if anybody, had an opportunity like that, it could have been different. But that's what you had already accomplished in Japan was already wow. Like that's already like for me, that's like
Yeah,
you already did a lot. And then learning Japanese, and then keeping, I'm pretty sure you still know a lot of the, what you learn and everything. And that's just like when you have that kind of opportunity, man, that's like wow. I mean, there's some people that would like, man, they would like
yeah.
they work sometimes their whole life for that, and but I mean, I'm so glad that you got that opportunity and that you actually took it that far, as far and for just being there for such a short time. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of us, would agree that you did a great job.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't feel like I did anything. I just felt like I was being pulled along down the road. It wasn't like I had any kind. You know how people talk, oh, I have a vision board and I want to accomplish this and that, and then I just said, okay, let's go for the ride. I had no plan. I just, it's really quite amazing and remarkable how blessed I was for no reason at all. Being at the right place at the right time, you know, that happens once in a lifetime, but not to everybody. And I'm very grateful and humbled by it because I know I didn't do it. It wasn't me planning it and making it happen. And for a while, when I came back to the States, I felt I felt like I didn't deserve to have the success I had. And I went on a little bit of a head trip, because of it. And then I had to learn in time how to get over it and, embrace the blessing that God had given me, because it wasn't anything of my own power, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, uh, 50 years goes by. None of my friends knew I had made the movie because I was so embarrassed with the voice. And so none of my friends, I told nobody that I made the movie. And then I get a call out of the blue from Japan, from Brett Homnick, telling me that he had been looking for me. And I was flabbergasted. I had no idea that anybody ever saw the movie or ever would see it more than once. I was shocked, you know. So I mean, 50 years, that's a long time between when I made the movie and then when I was contacted again.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. But I mean, it's still it just goes to show that that the film itself had, it's tested time. It's been that long, and and it's still around. People still watch it. I still watch. We have fans that still watch it. You guys have fans that still watch
Yeah.
it. And I mean, it stood the test of time, obviously. And I'm pretty sure, like you said, you were like, wow, there's still, you didn't even think that people actually took interest in the movie,
Yeah.
much less even seen the movie. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, but I mean,
It
that's
was a big
that.
shock
But I
to
mean,
me. And I remember
go ahead.
I remember getting a call. Uh, okay, I remember getting a call from an agent asking me to come to a convention to Chiller in 2015 in New Jersey. And I was scared to go because I said, you know, I don't look like I used to in the movie. I'm older, I'm heavier, and I said, I don't, I'm going to feel funny because they're going to be coming expecting to see 19-year-old Susan Watson. I said, and that's not what they're going to get. And he said the funniest thing to me, which gave me a little bit of a piece. He said, listen, all the fans that when they first saw the movie, they don't look like they used to either. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, he just that's the
Yeah.
way he was able to take some of the edge off. He was like, "Yeah, don't worry, you're not the only one."
Yes.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
that's but even though I'm not, like I said. Also, I'm not saying this to just to be favorable and anything like that. You still look great for your age, Linda. You look great. So just letting you know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then
Thank you very
and
much.
also and I was gonna say, okay, now that you and now that was actually part of the last question that I was gonna ask you about, you know, life. You already said a lot of it. So how was aside from what you just said? So how was on your way back to the States? Like, how did you still pursue acting? Did you still pursue certain things you were doing over there, here in the States when you came back?
Yes, like I said, Rhodes got me into an acting school and helped me get an agent. Um, but it was different. I was a big fish in a small pond in Japan. I come back,
Hmm.
I'm just nobody in a big pond. And I did My Three Sons, a guest spot on My Three Sons, and I did an indie film that I don't even know if it ever got released, but it didn't have the same. I think in the States, to be an actress, you have to be almost obsessed and so focused that that's the only thing that matters. And that wasn't me. Um, I didn't like the business in America. I didn't like the sleazy people that I had to interview with or be associated with or go to this party and be seen. I can't do that. And
Hmm.
after a while, I honestly felt after about 2 years, I said, if I stay in this business, I am going to lose my soul. And I made a decision then and there to get out. And I still love acting. I mean, I don't do hardly any of it, but I just felt I would lose myself if I stayed. I wasn't mature enough or strong enough or had a concrete sense of who I am, that I found I was being influenced in ways that I never thought I would be influenced, and so I put a stop to it.
Okay, no, yeah, no, that I totally, that's totally understandable, and I would understand that it's like, again, you follow your heart, and you follow what you think you follow with what you think you should have done, and you kept yourself away from
Hmm.
the negative parts of acting, Hollywood, or even just being famous. Like, it's not,
Hmm.
it's something that Walter
Hmm.
had, me and Walter talked about, before I actually was going to have you on here. And he said, specifically, that you are such a humble person, that you did not look at how the way of being an actress or being somebody very famous. You kept yourself very humble, and you're such a people person that I couldn't even tell if you were, say, maybe famous or not, or maybe if I wasn't a fan of the genre, or of Toho, or of Godzilla, or of
Yeah.
Kong, that I would be like, wow, like she was an actress. Like, I wouldn't even be able to tell, because you're such you're such a down to earth individual, that people, a lot of people aren't like that. Like, a lot of people who become famous, or people who are even, say, even being
Yeah.
close to it, want their 15 minutes of fame, and they want this, they want that. And you're such a well like a well taught individual, self taught, about not going the wrong way when it comes to, if, like you said, if you would have stayed in Japan, you don't know what could have happened if you would have stayed there at such a young age,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you went with your heart, which
Yeah.
is, it just speaks about your character. It speaks about how much of an amazing individual you are, and very, mentally tough and mentally strong that you are. And I applaud you for that. Really.
Oh, well, listen, I wasn't. I wasn't always that mentally tough. It's a learning process, but to be really honest with you, even though I never went to church or, I've always had a sense of God in my heart. You know what I'm saying? And even though I never got involved in church or anything until I was in my 50s, but I've always had a sense of uh, him being around me and taking care of me, and I think that helped me quite a bit. And my parents didn't put up with any nonsense, not like a lot of parents nowadays. I mean, they were very loving. My mother always told me I could do anything, and you tell a child that, and then they believe it. And so I had really
Mhm.
good parents, and I had a strong, I guess, a moral compass of what's right and wrong. And when I would veer off into the wrong direction, it was so uncomfortable that I just couldn't continue with it. So I don't want to get preachy or anything, but I just really believe that God has always been there with me side by side, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And no, you don't you will never be, preachy. You're all you're doing is just, spreading knowledge and experience, that everything that you have experienced, especially growing up, and then, just following your heart, following, like you said, you're following God. And I'm kind of, I become more I've become not as much as I used to be. When I was younger, I didn't have much I, of course, I believe in God and everything, but now as I got older, and the things that I've experienced, the things that I've done when I was young, like we have all made mistakes. I've tried to get a closer bond to God, as much as I can. And
Yeah,
that's just the positivity
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
That's the positivity. And
Hmm.
we all make mistakes growing up. We all make mistakes, and that's just a part of life and growing, man. And you do know that, of course, all of the
Yeah,
experience and everything. But exactly. But no, but
yeah,
I mean, also,
yeah.
uh, and I was gonna say, Miss, well, Linda, I'm sorry, try to keep it respectful, but Linda, I was going, yeah, I was gonna say that, now that now that I already done with all the questions, the experiences, everything we talked about, and may God rest their souls, um, Ishiro Honda, Takarada-san, Nakajima-san,
Hmm.
even Rhodes,
Yeah,
everyone who was part of it. It was
yeah.
it, this is such a great, like, podcast and live stream, and I'm so glad that you took the time out of your schedule to join me on this, and to have the interview with me. And I mean, there's so much more that I'll probably want to ask you, but I'll just see if I can save it for G Fest when I do see you. But
Okay, okay,
but yeah, like I said, but I like I said, I will we'll cut it off this time, cut it shorter, so that way, I know you're gonna be busy and stuff like that. I don't want it
okay.
to be too late, but I really appreciate it, Linda Joe Miller, for joining me on this podcast. And if there's anything else besides G Fest you got coming up, or anything like that, let everybody know. Or like I said, the road to G Fest. I mean,
Okay.
that's pretty much what I was looking for. But go ahead, like, if you have anything else going on besides that.
Yes, in October, the first weekend, I think in October, I'm going to be in Atlanta. Oh, and I always forget the names of the places I'm going. Anyway, I'm going to Atlanta, and then in the second week of October, I'm going to be at Monster Bash in the Pittsburgh area, and then it's not been announced yet, but I have something else coming up in February, but I haven't signed the contract yet, so I can't really speak about it. But it I just do want to say one thing. I
Yes, ma'am.
really appreciate the fans, and uh, I enjoy doing this as much as you enjoy having me do it. And I love the fans that keep King Kong alive. And I just want everybody to know that they're, whether it's a convention that they come to, or want to send me a message or whatever, I'm just thrilled to be able to talk to all the fans. And I thank you for having me as your guest.
You're very welcome. I'm very honored. This has been an honor and a privilege to have you on, Linda. And you guys already heard, people, those who are watching, the places that she will be at. I have, that happens to me too. Some things, sometimes I might have a podcast and I won't even remember what it is, but it happens. But
Yeah.
hey, guys. No, but yes, guys. You guys already know who watched it. She's already going to G Fest. We know that, and you guys already got on the information she just said. So, besides that, guys, everybody who was watching, thank you, Linda, again for being on the Sci-Fi Society podcast, Volume 13. We will see each other at G Fest. I will have that
Yes.
gift for you, and I
Woohoo.
will give it to you. Yes, I will give it to you personally. Me, Walt, Kevin Lambert, DJ Nubis, who was watching, also DJ Neko. A lot of the Sci-Fi Society is going to be there. Michelle Omniblast, Erica B. A lot of people who you've already met probably are going to be there. So, hey guys, just a few weeks, just a few more weeks, and the road to G Fest continues. So, on behalf of the Sci-Fi Society and Linda Joe Miller, we always keep it raw and real. Guys, thank you for watching, and we are out.